Welcome to today's episode, everyone. We've got a very exciting guest for you guys. For those of you just joining the podcast, we're E.N.G Media, and we specialize in helping software and technology companies scale their revenue. So if you want to learn how to take your software or tech business to the next level, make sure to stick around. And if you're interested in a free growth consultation, just drop us the word growth in the DMs. But without further ado, Ronan, thank you so much for hopping on our podcast today. I know we got a chance to connect a little bit earlier this week. Really excited for people to get to know you and as well as your company, Dozen. So thank you again for joining.
Not at all. Great to be here, Tyson. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's jump right into it. Maybe it's best if you can tell me a little bit about what Dozen does and maybe what your role looks like in the day to day as well.
Yeah, sure. And I might even, if I go kind of one step back, I'll give just a little bit about my own background, and it'll probably make
Sure.
sense as to why we're building what we're building and the mission that we're on. But my background is in startup and big companies. One in particular, when I joined, we were about 100 people big. By the time I'd left, we were up to 5,000. That was over a space of 7 years, and we'd built it
Oh,
into the biggest online gambling company in the world. But it was during that experience where I managed a team of 50 or 60 people to begin with, and it was great. We were award winning, standards were high.
nice.
Ronan was getting lots of recognition. It was wonderful. Within a few years, we had blown the team up to be 250, 300 people, and none of those things were true anymore. My green numbers were now red. The graphs that used to go up and to the right are now going down and to the left. And it was just really difficult. And at the time, I thought I had everything that I needed to manage a group effectively. LMS platforms, I had some really good talent. We had good people supporting that, but it just wasn't working. I couldn't get my people aligned on the same message, on the company strategy and goals, on our culture. The quality of my good people and not so good people was getting further apart, and it was just a real challenge for me. And I wish what I had then was what we're building now, which
Mm,
essentially is a single platform that would have allowed me to take all of our company inputs, strategy, goals, processes, handbooks, culture, and then be able to create for individuals within the team a kind of learning program or pathway for them to
mm.
be able to consume. I mean, from like day one that they start in the group, I was hiring 80 new people a year. So I didn't have it, and I spent a lot of money and a lot of time trying to figure that out. And that's really what we do at Dosen. So that's kind of where the genesis for this came from, and that's where my heart is in this. And really, what we do now is we consider ourselves to be an alignment platform. We align an employee's ambitions, so what it is that they want to achieve,
Mm.
with the company goals, and then wrap it up in some scientifically proven practices to create these really effective, really gamified, personalized development and learning programs that organizations can serve back to their people. And the result of all of that is essentially engagement rates that are, 10x the industry average, and just some incredible feedback from the clients that we work with today. So that's kind of what we do, and our mission really is to make every employee your best employee. We see no reason as to why that can't be the case.
Right.
And I think right now for us more than ever before, this is critical. I think we were just chatting before we started with the concept of the quiet quit, and it's taken over from the big quit when people were leaving their roles, and
Right.
churn rates, people churn rates were at historical levels. We've now come into the quiet quit where people aren't leaving their role per se anymore. They're actually just kind of working at a percent of their potential. And right now, the data will tell you that about 60% of people around the world are
Mm.
just not putting it in. And so it's very hard to identify that, particularly in a world where we're now all working from home. So what we're looking to do is put an end to the quiet quit. We want to build these programs which allow people the learning opportunities, the development opportunities, get them connected and aligned with their company, and actually do their best work in the organization that they're in.
Yeah, no, that is amazing. I appreciate you sharing kind of the background that led you up to this point. And obviously, churn is when employees are leaving companies, but I think you could make the case that there's even quiet churn as well, to where they're putting, like you said, in just a fraction of the effort in their actual role. And most companies might not even know that that's really happening, but I'm sure it's affecting their performance and their results.
For sure, it's a $500 billion problem just in the US
Oh, wow.
alone. Yeah, yeah, because the result of it is just underperformance. Things get delivered late, the same volume of work doesn't get done. People just aren't satisfied and happy in their role. And as much as we care about clients and delivering all of that, we also care about the employees, because we are or were those people who, I've had moments where I've been in flow in my role, and it's been fantastic, and I've really
Yeah.
been energized by it. And I've done incredible work. That's blowing my own trumpet, but I've done my best work.
Mhm.
And then times where I'm less engaged and it's just a struggle, and it just leaks into every other part of your life. It's not an enjoyable place to be. So, yeah, for sure. And as I said, this is becoming a bigger problem by the day. It's the number one issue for HR leaders at the moment.
Wow. No, I mean, I can completely agree. And I know that not every company, most companies have different values, ethics, and I guess overall goals for their company. And then same thing with employees as well. They each have a different, I guess, view or perspective of where they see themselves going in their career path. So it's almost like, from what I understand, maybe it's you guys aren't providing a cookie cutter solution. Like it seems like when you're working with these enterprises and talking to them about their employees and their goals and kind of aligning all of that together, you almost have to build out like a specialized solution for each company. Is that kind of how your model works?
Um, a little bit. I think some of the magic within what we do is every program feels like we've built it specifically for the organization and even specifically for the individual that's consuming it.
Mhm.
So that's the type of feedback we get. But in reality, the platform is designed to be highly configurable, and designed to be almost personalized to the company and personalized to the individual. That's the direction of travel. So,
Nice.
I think we'll all agree there's an awful lot of generic content out there that you can utilize to educate yourself, but it's just very hard to really utilize that within the company that you're in or the role that you're in, because it's generic and general, and you may now know how a product manager works, but you still won't learn from that who the person is who makes the decisions or what the product roadmap looks like or how to influence it. You
Right.
just don't get that from generic. So we think the more bespoke and personalized it feels, and by
Mhm.
connecting it back into the people in the organization and the organization's goals and strategy themselves, it now becomes highly effective,
Yeah.
and you can actively go out and make influence change within your organization.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I mean, like I said, I completely agree. And I always like to ask the question, like, and to preface it, I know most businesses, always have competitors. Sounds like what you guys are doing is highly specialized, like of a solution, but I'm sure just with the nature of things, there are probably other companies out there. So if I were a potential enterprise that is listening to this and maybe needed your solution, what are some things that you would want me to know about what you guys do that set your company apart, and like how would that positively, impact my business?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a few things um, that we measure success by, and I'll give you just three of those that are kind of top line for us. The first is effort to launch.
Mhm.
So we know that a lot of organizations, we haven't spoken to an organization yet who does not believe that this is a problem, does not believe that this is important, does not believe that their people are their most valuable asset. Just that's every organization that we've spoken to believes that. Leadership across those groups believe that.
Yeah.
Um, in a lot of instances, they are ready and want to affect change, but they're quite time poor. And so the challenge for them is, can I do this now? Do I have the personal capacity? What am I going to need to do? So for us, effort to launch is a huge thing. So we really focus in on that and allow organizations to quickly
Mm.
launch programs that feel like they should take a lot longer to create. So that's number one. Number two then is time to value. So it's one thing getting it off the ground. A huge challenge in this space, and for leaders, I had a call literally this morning with a head of people in an organization, and he put it better than I could. He was like, what number am I giving to my CFO when he asks me, is this of value, what I'm doing here? And it's that, like, if we can't give back data
Mm.
that would satisfy someone in a CFO level, well then it's very hard to measure the impact and ensure that you can continue to kind of grow programs and development within your organization. So
All right.
time to value is next, and we have like real-time ROI metrics which allow you to actually see the dollar value of the
Mhm.
work that you're doing through these programs. So effort to launch, time to value, and impact is number three. And so impact is about how big can you make that ROI number? How many people can you serve this to? What's the effect of actually delivering it to them? And right now, our engagement rates are something like 10 times industry average because of the way that we've kind of gamified the experience. We've built the platform, we've personalized the program, so it's just more engaging. Like lots of little ways that we do things just give us that little bit of an edge. So, in short,
Mm.
live faster, immediate value that you can see, and then the impact is just going to be bigger
Yeah.
by using Dosen.
No, that's huge. Yeah. And I assume too, like all of these, heads of these organizations that you're talking to, are they're able to give you that data of how certain employees in their organization contribute back to revenue. And so you kind of help track by, having them be more engaged in their role, like how it helps them reach those revenue targets. Is that essentially how you're bringing that to a CFO and showing like the actual revenue impact that what you guys do provides?
Yeah, I won't share too much because some of this is in our kind of secret sauce. But you're right in your kind of thinking about how to calculate. There's
Mm,
something called the Kirkpatrick method of measuring value, where it kind of goes from like a little bit squishy and fluffy of like, did you like that? And they're like, yeah, I like that. Okay, that's a way of measuring success,
mm,
all the way down to like objective, quantitative, dollar-based value that you can see. Now, in most instances, you just can't get that at the bottom.
mhm,
And that's where we're attempting to get to as well. I won't pretend that we're all the way there just yet, but what we've done is we've taken scientifically proven
mhm,
data that shows the correlation between alignment, connection, purpose within one's work, and then marries that back to reduced levels of churn, increased levels of productivity. And then by taking a handful of inputs, we can literally say to an organization, if you put X number of people through this and they
mhm.
increase by Y, you will increase or you will deliver a return on investment of Z because you will have reduced churn and you will have increased productivity. And then we show them that in real time. So as their people are going through the programs, the scores are coming through and they're seeing their ticker increase over time through the essentially the results of their people going through. We don't dictate that. That's real life data at that point.
Nice. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Before we give away too much secret sauce, let's transfer over to, I'm always thinking from a marketing perspective just because that's the nature of my background. And so a question I always like to ask, and I'm always curious, like how are you, reaching out to these new clients that are in the need for this HR solution? And like, how do they know you exist? Like, do you guys have any, I guess, systems in place, or is it mainly like referrals and word of mouth? Like, do you guys have like any kind of metrics around that?
Yeah, really good question. And I think this is probably one of the harder parts of what we do today because we're still in early stages of building out our marketing engine
Mhm.
and our sales engine, our value proposition. So we see the eyes light up of the people that we're talking to. We know this problem exists and is very real. The next piece of the puzzle for us is representing that in a very clean, crisp value proposition, and then be able to get that out to the places where the people who face this problem are, and then we can help more people. So that's for sure our goal at the moment. I would say there's a few kind of methodologies that we're using to achieve that.
Mhm.
Which are kind of along the lines of doing this, like just speaking very transparently and openly about the industry and what we do and how we think about it, and then getting that out there. So hopefully, if someone hears this and it resonates with them and they feel the pain of what it is that we're describing, they'll get in touch. And so, by putting as much of that out there as we can, it's incredibly helpful. Um, and then we've got referral systems. Some of our current clients have come from pre-existing clients. We've got channel partners who just know this world incredibly well and know the people that are going to be affected by it. So a lot of different kind of channels through which we kind of outreach. But I think the big piece for us is we just want to be very transparent and be very
Mhm.
open, and not try and overly hard sell. We don't actually want to work with anybody who doesn't need us because ultimately it
Right.
doesn't benefit them, which ultimately won't benefit us. So it's not that for us. It's really just about if this is a problem you need to tackle and solve, well,
Yeah.
we think we're the best option for you.
Absolutely. And I think that that's always the most important thing, that the people who you are talking to, you're talking to your ideal client profile. You're probably talking to your current customers now as well. And as long as their eyes are lighting up and you know that you're providing value in that space, sooner than later, you're going to find a way to productize that and be able to effectively communicate out what you're offering. I talked to another leader from the HR space as well, and she told me, they had been basically selling, relational intelligence for like the past 8 years. That is what, essentially, again, helping organizations drive change and everything related to like the human in HR. And she said that like with how sophisticated the market has gotten in the past 2 years, that they're having to go back to the drawing board with like a different, they're still providing the same service. They're kind of just having to go to market with different angles
Yeah.
on what that ends up solving and what the end result of that actually is. So I'm always interested to kind of hear like what's working. And these are the exact kind of insights that I like to share and pull out on these podcasts. So
Yeah, and I think it's gonna change. It's got to change. I think if you have the same proposition for too long, it's the problem has shifted. It
mhm,
was the big quit, now it's the quiet quit. They're very different things, and so
right.
I think that's just part of the journey. I think is making sure that you're continuing to hone in
Mhm.
on the biggest problem that people are facing for sure.
100%. Yeah. I mean, you said everybody you talk to agrees that quiet quit is real. I mean, I've seen it in my corporate experience as well. And yeah, everybody I pretty much talk to has that same,
Yeah.
idea about it. But, anyway, the next question I wanted to ask you was, what are some goals for Dozen in the next 12 months related to growth of your company? Are you maybe looking to add on more members to your team? Are you looking to take on more customers? Like, do you have any kind of specifics around that?
Yeah, I think we have a few. So we literally yesterday closed an oversubscribed first round, which is great. So
Nice.
we're kind of at that point of just maturing into the next stage for the company. And we've got our own kind of financial milestones, but more than those, we kind of have our own learning milestones, I would call them,
Mhm.
where we know. We're not going to pretend that we know everything. We don't know the space as well as the people that we're attempting to support. So we want to continue to learn. We want to continue, to your point earlier, build a product that really solves the problems that people are facing in the way that they need them to. So we're on that path to make sure that that's what we're achieving, and then we want to make sure we're actually getting in front of the right people who are facing this problem. Which again is going to be critical for us. So all of those things are kind of milestones for us over the next 12 to 18 months, and the aim in 12 18 months time is that hopefully we would be in a place where there's a clear value proposition. It's discernibly different and better than
Mhm.
anything else that's out there. We know where to find the people that face this problem,
Yeah.
and we know how to appeal to them with the proposition that we present. So that's kind of what we want to do. And as I said, it's all about finding the people that we already know are out there that are suffering from this problem to be able to support them. So yeah, that's kind of it for the next 12 to 18 months, and that will then bring its own benefits in terms of kind of delighted customers, which like that's
Yeah.
one of our hard metrics. We want a certain number of delighted clients and users in 12 months time, when we've set ourselves that target, and ultimately that's the measure of success for us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's just going to lead to more financial success as well, as long as that's what's at the top of your mind. Yeah, that is so interesting too. I think that you guys definitely sounds like you have a really good grip on everything that's kind of, going on in your business right now, like a clear direction of that goal. Another question that I always like to ask is, hypothetically speaking, if you had a magic wand to fix one thing in the business right now that's maybe either holding you back or slowing you down from hitting that goal, could you identify like what that the biggest domino, like that one thing would be?
That's such a cruel question, Tyson. It gets me excited about the thought of that happening. Um, I would say maybe this is not quite the right answer, but for me, it's time. I just know you know, we are so eager to get the answers to the questions that we're asking and really find out the things that I mentioned earlier. My
Mhm.
magic wand be let's just stop the clock for a minute and let's allow us to do that the right way. So I
Yeah,
think that's the thing. We're all just so eager to really get this platform out into market in the hands of the right people, see the value it brings, keep building on the back of the needs of our clients. I think that would be it for me. And
absolutely.
yeah, we don't want to think short term. We want to think long term. We want to
Yeah,
think about delighted customers, and we know that takes a little bit of time. So yeah, that
yeah.
would be my wish if you could grant me that one, Tyson.
We'll see, man. Who knows? But no, anyway, it really sounds like you guys are on the right track with that. It almost seems like, especially in my experience with marketing, like you just have to get out there and test and talk to who you're trying to provide a solution for. There's really no, you can hypothesize as much as you want and obsess about a go to market offer, but really just getting out there talking and testing is going to get you there the fast. And that sounds like
For
that's
sure.
what your guys focus is for the next year. So it's got to be really exciting, man. And if I'm somebody in HR, or I'm a business owner and I want to connect with you, or I want to learn more about what Dozen does, what would be the best place for me to go to do that?
Yeah, if you want to go to dosen.io, there's a few different ways depending on what you're looking for. You can book a demo directly with us. You can reach out through one of our web forms. If you're not ready yet, just want to sign up to our newsletter, go for that, and we'll stay in touch. Or just reach out directly to me. I'm Ronan, Ronan at dosen.io, and yeah, love to chat to you.
Awesome. And I'll be sure to include all of your links in the description of this video and through all the social media posts as well. I highly recommend that you guys go check out Dozen and the awesome things that they're doing. But other than that, thank you again, Ronan, for all of your time today and for the insights. And we'll catch you guys in the next video.